Frank, you coming up to join me?
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm gonna go over there.
Thank you.
Okay.
I brought my one-armed producer with me.
All right, so just introduce your one-armed producer.
I'm Frank Carr.
All right, so I get to watch all the films, so I love the fact that I get to do that. And obviously this is a local story to New Jersey, so that adds something additional to it. But what was the inspiration? How did you meet QT? Do you work with him? You know, where did this story come from?
My brother, who's somewhere over there in the back, well, the way back one, yeah. He actually worked out with him in a fitness center in Orlando, and they went out a couple times, like acquaintances and whatnot. And then fast forward a couple years later, there's a WWE tryout thing, whatever. So I ended up talking to him, seeing if he could get me to connect, because I wanted to write for the WWE as a bucket list type thing, you know? So he said that I would have to go to that school that everyone just seen, but I have to go to that school for 3 years, and I just graduated from Full Sail, so I said, we can't do that, you know? So we end up going to the Monster Factory to talk to Mike about that situation, and he said, like you said about that with the school, and I said, I can't. So then he suggested, what if we just do like a documentary? So within a week or two, we got the ball rolling and got the equipment and just started following him around. I didn't even know the guy.
But now you really know him.
Yeah, for 4 years.
So that's how long, that was the so talk about when you're doing this kind of a documentary, it's not a 5-day photo shoot or anything along those lines. What's the process for this?
It's okay.
Filmed for about a year. So we filmed for about a year. We were following Mike around. We went to the Monster Factory. We went down to Baltimore. We followed him to all different shows and everything. That whole filming process took a year. Then the editing, and throughout the time, some information changed while we were editing, so we would film. So from beginning to entering it into film festivals, it took about 2 years. And now, like, we still film like some bits and pieces down in Georgia and everything. So,
so questions. Because obviously, I could sit up here and talk and ask questions forever, but we really do want to make this interactive for all of you. Does anyone? I can't see anything. Sorry. So if you're raising your hand, any questions? Back there.
How is it filming in the grocery store?
We got kicked out in about a half an hour. We had everything was like guerrilla style. Yeah, they said you guys got to go, and Mike threatened them to give all the groceries back if we weren't allowed to film. So it worked.
That wouldn't happen here. I know our ShopRite would be more than happy to let you come up there and do some filming.
Mr. Leonard.
Yes.
Hello. So did you have a? Hello. When did the story, kind of materialize? If you just started like shooting, did you already have some kind of a structure in mind, or did it come to you as you started to capture?
Yeah, that's actually when he said documentary. I said to him, when there's a million wrestling things out there, so it's just gonna be the same as everything else. And then once I pitched the idea to him, he said to me, he goes, "Oh well, I'm turning 30. This is gonna be my last time at it." And right then and there, I knew that was the story to follow. But then when I edited it too, I had to change it so many different times to find the arc to it, to make sure that everyone felt sympathetic for him or you can relate with them. So, and then over the course of that year too, I had to build a relationship with him to do that dinner scene, or just to him to tell me about his tool truck job. He didn't want to admit any of that because he had a lot of pride, I guess.
Right.
But that came from building a relationship with him.
Talk about the community and the fact that the community supported him, and what his thoughts were on all of that.
Yeah, he has a, local fan base. I mean, he's known a little bit in the independent world, but, they keep showing up to his shows and supporting him, and I guess that gives him fuel to keep going. Even though he's not really making money with it. But, some of the fans that show up, they come from all facets of life. Some of them could be, disabilities and whatnot, but they come there and they live through him for the 15-minute match or whatever the case may be. But him putting on that show brings a whole group of people together, and just like the theme, the community, and it ends up. I don't know if that's the right answer.
No, that's perfect. It fits right in with who we are and what we are as a film festival. Right here in the front.
Did I understand that you only were shooting this for a year?
Yeah.
How did you make it? I really got the feeling that you have been shooting it for at least 5 years. I mean, there were a lot of like when he was talking in the room by himself, that looked like he said he was 12 or something.
That stuff is footage that we had on YouTube. So my idea was to take all the footage that he originally had in the past and structure it where it was just went steps into his life to show you where he was at in his life, and he was still chasing after a dream. But there's a lot more footage that he had, but that's what I kept in the cutting room floor.
Well, you fooled me. It really looked like you had been traveling around with him for 5 years, at least 5 years.
If we were to go to
You did a
Japan,
great job.
I wouldn't be able to afford the luggage bag to get on.
It's a great job.
And there's one right behind.
Hey guys, that was awesome.
Thank you.
How did you, being a filmmaker also, how did you know that you were done? That the story, that you finished telling the story? Because it sounds like you're still shooting a little bit in Georgia, but this is a story that can go on for a long time as you follow him and his next.
That's true.
But when did you decide that you had to put it down and this was the story?
Well, actually, I do have to change the ending one more time because he moved into a new facility in Georgia. But after that, I put a cap on it, no more. But I don't know. I didn't want to just leave it on a depressing note because it was the reality of it. But I didn't want to lie to the audience either. But when he opened up the school, I felt I needed to change it. I didn't just want to leave it on that note. But in terms of is it done now? Yeah, it has to be. But that is a hard question because he's going to keep changing. But we have to move on to the next thing. That's it.
So this is the shameless plug for Full Sail University. Tell us about your experience there as a student, because obviously, we may have some young budding filmmakers who are interested. We've got the amazing truck here.
Yeah.
How did Full Sail prepare you to do what you're doing?
Everything's fast paced, the long days and no breaks and all that. And they get you in there, they throw things at you real quick, and you have to keep up or get out.
So
Larry knows, right? Larry, that's how they do it, right? But yeah, I mean, they teach you how to use the equipment and stuff like that, and everything's the same to an extent, just with different cameras or whatever.
Right.
But and then it also teaches you a lot too, which most people don't get out of it, but I got out of it, is just dealing with different personalities. Because I had to meet all these different people, and contact just to get to these shots that I needed, and that works from just building relationships with people too. But learning how to deal with personalities is a huge thing that will teach you, because it throws you in with, say there's 70 kids in the class, every person is different, so you have to be able to adapt and adjust to every person in that classroom. So.
Other questions? Let's see.
I have one.
Oh, right up here in front.
So, what inspired you to become a filmmaker?
When I was 13, I saw my brother had like a DVD collection, and he had Goodfellas on there, so I popped it in, and then after that, the rest was history. And I became obsessed with the directors and the writers. I'd always turn the box around with DVD and see who wrote and directed it. So then I just started following his work, or Brian De Palma, or Kubrick and stuff like that, and that's how. Ever since then, I just haven't stopped loving the art form.
Okay. So from the producing side of it, now what is your background? Anything in film?
I went to business school at Rivertown College, I did media business up there.
Okay.
When I was a kid, I did some small acting when I was a kid. But I've always been interested in film and everything. And when I met Frank and his brothers, they used to do like small little films like outside and everything, and we'd all just throw everything together and do it. So I've been supporting him and following him around for years now.
Providing the money.
And I bullied him to swipe his credit card a few times.
We did watch a movie last year about swiping of the credit card quite a bit. What other projects do you have on the horizon?
One that we're doing now, we're looking for the funding for it. My brother in the back again, that set the original up, he has, I'm probably going to butcher the word, but he has multiple sclerosis.
Mm-hmm.
He's been diagnosed with that last year. So believe it or not, he's boxing right now, even though the doctor told him not to. But we've been getting UFC fighters and boxers and whatnot to campaign on it and support us. So we're trying to, that's another community type deal,
Right.
And he's gonna box and with his MS and go from there.
So
Yeah.
you're going to focus more on the documentary, not...
No, I want to do
your
that.
passion?
I have a script on human trafficking and stuff like that.
We had one of those last year too.
I think I saw that actually.
Yeah.
I didn't see it, but I saw the.
So you got some stuff to for the next year.
We're trying.
All right. Other questions? Yes.
Just one quick question. Did you get feedback from QT after he watched the film, or did you watch it with him when it was complete?
Yeah, actually, that's a good question. I wanted to make sure before I let it out and to everybody see it if he approved of it first. I didn't want to, backdoor him or anything like that. And he wrote me back. I almost cried. So I guess that's good enough to.
That's the answer.
Yeah. So, but he's been a good guy all the way through it. We've worked well together through this whole time.
He's going to talk you into maybe doing a part 2.
I'm gonna block his phone number. I don't want to see wrestling ever again.
So that's an interesting point. How much did you have to know about wrestling before you started? Did you have to research
Oh
that?
no! All jokes aside, though, I'm actually a huge wrestling fan. So
Okay.
yeah.
So you already knew. For me,
Yeah.
I wouldn't know anything about it. So would I need to research to do a documentary on it? Or is it something I can just, I'm going to do this documentary?
Yeah.
Is the research required is really, I guess, the question. This one you're working on with the boxing and the MS, are you doing the research to really understand?
Well, I always do research no matter what, yeah. I always look things up that, that I need to and whatnot. But the boxing thing's that's always been a part of our lives growing up.
Okay.
So, but yeah, with anything though, like even with the human trafficking script, I researched I'm crazy to finalize it, so.
There's a lot of research on that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for
Thank you,
coming.
Janice. I
Thank you for
appreciate it.
supporting the film festival and being part of it with us.
Thanks, everyone.
How many brothers are there?
There's 4 altogether.
Oh, okay. Are you all involved?
Yeah, actually.
Okay, we
the
just
one
have
brother
2
that's not
minutes
here-
before we start the next.